Make sure you listen to my daddy's podcast right now. It's the best show in the world.
And this is the Cards Face Up podcast. I am your host, Mr. Ty Hill. First, before we go anywhere, I need y'all to make sure wherever you're listening or watching this at, subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. We got the best thing popping in the world. When I say world, I mean the world. But listen, today's one of those episodes. Y'all know what we like to do. Today's episode, we have another guest on here who occupies that space in hip hop time. You know, that place that reminds you of happiness. Y'all know my motto. We like to build moments of nostalgia, nostalgic moments, and you know, with those songs or those faces that remind you of a moment. It reminds you of a time. It reminds you of a place. I always describe it as it smells like grandma's home cooking, right? If you're from the project, it might smell like roach spray. Whatever it smells like, it's from your past, and it does that. Listen, we're going to jump right back into 1996 real quick, right? When this young lady came on the scene with a hit single that went straight gold out the gate. She came on the scene with a single that went gold out the gate during a time where everything was really rough, tough, and gangster, right? And she came out there. We had just now had, some murders in hip hop, some bad moments in hip hop. And she came out there with 5 o'clock in the morning. Where you going to be?
Outside on the corner.
Hailing all the way from DC, man. So shout out DC too. Y'all know DMV, we Baltimore bred over here, but DC, DMV, all of that, man. Today we have on the legendary Nonchalant. Thank you for coming, Queen.
Woo, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cards Face Up podcast, for having me. I appreciate it.
We are excited. First of all, I want to give you kudos because I don't know how you managed to still look the same age all these years later. And I know you hear that a lot, don't you?
I mean, look, I can't hear it enough. I appreciate it. Thank you. I can't hear it enough.
Look, you're doing wonderful. You're looking wonderful. I want to jump right in it because, like I told you, I try not to hold y'all too long. I know your lives are busy, but fans wanted to know about all of this, man. We had to get you on the show, and I was actually just now talking to Rampage the other day, right?
Shout out to my brother Rapper Rush.
Listen, I love that guy, man. And we was mentioning some nostalgic moments, and you know, your name came up, and I was like, yo, I want this on the show. You feel me? So, man, shout out to him, man. So I want to get right into it. 5 o'clock in the morning. The year is 1996.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Can you give us a breakdown of just where did that song come from?
I'm gonna paint the picture. I'll paint the picture. It came from actually being out at 5 a.m. So during that time, I worked for the post office. I was a letter carrier, and I had to be at work at 6. And driving, and it's early in the morning. And back then, you know, the young boys, they was posted up on the corner around what was called a pay phone. If you don't know what it is, go Google it. But even if it wasn't a pay phone, it was just out. They was out at 5 a.m. every day, like they was going to the post office. Rain, sleet, shine, snow. They was out there, and you know what they was doing. And I said to myself, I stopped at a light one day, and I said, Dad, I hope I never see one of my nephews out here. And we know that drugs continue to touch every family. At some point in time, drugs are going to touch your family in some form or fashion. So it wasn't like I didn't think anybody in my family might be, selling drugs or doing drugs or anything like that. It's just something you don't want to see. So I was sitting at the light one day, and I said, I hope I never see one of my nephews out here. And was in Bam from Black Productions. Shout out to Black Productions. Had the track. I came with the lyrics, and 5 o'clock was originally called Brother Man. It was originally, the hook was actually being sung, and the hook was Brother Man. But then I started saying, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning, where you gonna be? And outside on the corner just came, and I flipped it. I just completely flipped the hook, and it fit. It fit, but that's where it came from, me not wanting to see it.
Wow. So you That's what I love about hip hop, man. It comes straight from the heart. It just comes from those places that's just real. So when we talking 5 o'clock in the morning, when you recorded that, would you think all these years later it would still be a thing? Because it's still so prevalent. Like, I don't even know if that's the right word I use. It still exists. Everything get relevant. It's still today. You can play that anywhere and it still fits. And it's not just today, like you said, drugs touch everybody at some point. But it's not even just, usually when an artist comes out with their first song, they try to rep home. They try to rep home, but you chose to rep something that represented your home, but it also is global.
Yeah.
Like, did you expect it to still be what it is today?
I mean, no. I mean, when you make records, I don't know, every artist makes records and they want every record to be a great record. So that's automatic. Did I know that 5 o'clock would have the 30-year ripple that it has had? Absolutely not. Does any artist want their records to still resonate years later? Absolutely. My unfortunate dilemma is that it is still relevant. I want my record to resonate and for people to be moved just like the first time they heard it, but I wish it wasn't relevant to the time still. So, but I didn't know. I had no idea that 5 o'clock would do what it did. I didn't choose, everybody goes in, and you choose your singles, you finish the album, you talk about the records. I didn't choose 5 o'clock as my single. Who chose 5 o'clock for my single is the iconic Daddy-O from Stetsasonic. That's who chose 5 o'clock to be the single. We were up at the label. I'm in the office with my A&R, Nicole Bernard. Shout out to Nikki Bernard, who was my A&R at the time. Daddy-O's office was right next door to Nikki's, and we're playing a record. 5 o'clock came on, and Daddy-O being who he is, door flew open. That's your single right there. That's exactly what he said. That's your single. That record right there is your single. And that's how we chose the record. Daddy-O from Stetsasonic chose 5 o'clock as the record. A bit more of history. Dre and Bink, who are from DC on the record, were not originally supposed to be on the record. Common was supposed to be on 5 o'clock. Common was supposed to have, that middle verse, that was Common, but for whatever reason, that didn't happen. It wasn't supposed to happen. And shout out to Dre and Bink, who are from the DMV. They are the two guys that's on the record. And I believe 5 o'clock still, because of what it represents, what it was talking about, it would still have had the impact. It would still have a huge impact. But just like any great meal, if you leave out one or two ingredients, it doesn't taste the same. It's good, but it won't taste the same. I think Dre and Bink, those ingredients that were added, the passion from the DMV, from those two MCs, made 5 o'clock go that much further than it would have. Would it have been a hip hop iconic record? Absolutely. I feel like that, based on how people still respond to the hook and what I'm saying. But I definitely think those two guys, those two gentlemen, those two brothers of mine from the DMV added those ingredients that made it soar even higher than it is and have that ripple.
Yeah. Finding out that Common was supposed to be on there is dope too, though. Like that's hey, Common, we're gonna need you to release a throwback version now. Whatever your verse was gonna be, we'll write it down. We're gonna need that. But shout out them two brothers too, because they killed it, like you said.
And in defense, I don't even know if Common know he was even supposed to be on that record. So let me put that out there. He might not even know, but that was one of the conversations that was had at the time of making that record. So let's say that, yeah.
Listen, God, it's God's plan. So the way that it worked out, God put it out there to move it like that, and we're thankful to have it, man. And
yes.
I just now found out that you were from the DMV.
Really?
I think it was probably a few years ago when I found out, and I'm like, I never knew it, and that's why I said it's so, even down to the actor, and I don't know how, if what it is or how your part was as far as choosing the actors or if you had anything to do with that, but the guy that plays your brother in the beginning, he
Mm-hmm.
talks with a DMV slang. His voice,
Mm-hmm.
how he speaks, it's not, it's somewhere over here, and I might be wrong, but I swear the way that he say, try being my sister instead of my mother, something like that. He sounded like somebody from our area, so it was like, wow.
That's
And
my real nephew. That's my real nephew.
that's
That's
why.
that's my brother's son. Yes, Jay. When I
Wow.
say Jay, that's his real name, Jay. So I'm calling him like I'm calling him at home, Jay. For real, that's my
Wow.
actual nephew. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That is dope. That is dope. So I want to know where did Nonchalant get into her music? Like, where did that come? Because you're not just a rapper. We know you for 5 o'clock in the morning, but you're a talented singer as well.
I
And we got to
appreciate it.
hear that on the album. We got to hear you choose your vocal cords and things of sort. And we didn't expect that after listening to 5 o'clock in the morning, but you was one of those first people that was mixing rap with singing and stuff like that too. You don't
Mhm.
get the credit for that. But where did we get Nonchalant in this mixture of this person?
So the irony of that is I started out singing. I wasn't trying to be a rapper. I started out singing. Actually, my best friend and manager, um, Debo, I call her Debo because we've been knowing each other for over 40 years now. Well, 30 years. So we met, my best friend and I met trying to sing backup vocals for Johnny Gill's cousin. Right, right. So I started out trying to sing. And I was in the booth with Black Production. Shout out to Lonnie Capon and Bam, the producers of 5 o'clock, and I was in the booth just waiting for them. They doing, Bam was doing some engineer stuff, cleaning up some of the vocals or what have you. So I just was in there rapping. I started rapping, just wasting time. So he hit the talk back button and like, yo, what you doing? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm ready. You ready? And he like, no, what was you just doing? I was like, oh, I'm ready. He's like, no, you was just rapping. I said, I know what I was doing, but he's like, no, we about to do that. We're going to come back to the vocals. We about to do some more of that. So the irony of that is I started out singing with them, but what got me my deal with MCA Universal was a song called The Flow. I never released it, but it was the first song that we recorded and sent to the label. And it was very, very melodic, a lot of melodies, a lot of singing, but I was rapping and singing. And sent it up to Nicole Bernard. Nicole Bernard was an HU alum. They all went to, well, was it Capon? I think Capon went to Howard University with Nicole. She had just gotten her position at MCA as a A&R, and she lived here in Rockville. So sent the cassette up to her, and she loved it. That weekend, she was here in the DMV to meet me, and the rest is history. I was signed. It took all of a month for me to get my deal. So, but that's where it came from. I started out singing, and then rapping is just something that I love to do. I just love to do that naturally.
Wow. So who's Nonchalant inspiration music wise?
Oh
Because
man.
we hear certain stuff from you, the year that you came out
Mm-hmm.
versus the predecessors or the the queens of hip hop prior to you.
Mm-hmm.
We hear that strong movement in you. So we can hear the Queen Latifah, the MC Light, we just the message wise. But I want you to tell us who inspires you on that level that make you come up with the lyrics or the songwriting that you do and the messages that you do. Because the first album you touched on, drugs, you touched on racism, you touched on so much. It was
Yeah.
like just a ball of just real life. Who
Yeah.
inspires that?
This interesting because I started out singing. I love hip hop. Don't get me wrong. I love all music. That was the thing. I loved everything. So before then, I was listening to a lot of jazz, a lot of jazz, a lot of new age. I love every genre of music. I can sit and listen to every genre of music. The only genre of music that I can't say that I can really sit and listen to is heavy metal. And there are a couple of heavy metal groups that I've listened to that I find interesting and I can draw from. Like I really find Tool entertaining. But as an artist, I was listening to a lot of Bob James, a lot of Dave Grusin, a lot of John Luke Ponty, a lot of that music, a lot of Beatles, the Red and Green Album. I was listening to a lot of that. So it was a combination, but what did it for me as far as hip hop is concerned, I loved all the hip hop before. Of course, that's the son, everybody. I loved everybody. But what changed it for me was Slick Rick, The Adventures of Slick Rick album. That changed the landscape of how I listened to hip hop music because it was incredible storytelling. You could listen to these bars with no music and see the complete story. He's entertaining, you know what I mean? You're listening to not only the story, but the cadence, then the music, the horns, you have so many things happening in there, which is a combination of so many intricate parts of music, jazz, hip hop, classical, everything was mixed in. And then you got Slick Rick with this crazy as a dope MC. That changed everything for me. So I listen to that album to this day. When I spin records, I'm not a DJ. I say I spin records because I have a respect for the culture. So whenever I'm spinning, that children's story come on, I'm challenging people every time because it's timeless music. It's timeless music. So Slick Rick, The Adventures of Slick Rick, changed everything for me when it comes to being an MC and if you will, a rapper for some people who would call it that terminology. But yeah, music as a whole, I'll listen to everything.
Got it. I think we kind of hear it in your music because it's literally it's kind of like how I describe my podcast. People are like, "What's your podcast?" It's like it's everywhere. The podcast it's here, there, and your music is like that. I guess whatever my feel is that day because I'm touching everything. So
yeah,
I love it, man. I loved the Until the Day album. It was a good album. It was a good mixture. It was a good movement. And again, women weren't getting the credit on the mic as much as they should back then. You know, you had your food, but without at that point, I think, especially at that point in hip hop, if you wasn't showing titties and ass, you really wasn't getting. No disrespect to my ladies. Y'all know I done had a lot of y'all on here. We love the titties and ass as well, but I'm just saying it.
Right, respect. Shout out to titties and ass. Shout out to
titties and ass. But we needed, and I think that's what the culture misses today. Is it doesn't have the balance. It doesn't have when I want to go right or other side. I don't know.
Right, the other right.
But when I want to go right or left, right, it doesn't have that mixture, and that's one of the things that I hate. But with your music back then, you really could hear.
Wait a minute. I went somewhere? Can you still see me?
I can still see you.
You can? Okay, awesome. Because it cut off for me, so I don't see you. This is crazy.
It's all good because that's the good point about not recording, me not being live. I can clip all of this out.
Okay, well, as long as you can see me, that's all that matters.
No, I want you to be able to see me. Go ahead and get it right. I keep telling you I'm on your time.
Okay, because I'm like, well, what happened to the Zoom? I know sometimes they'll cut out, I guess, or they'll time out, I guess. Maybe that's what happened. But let me go back in. Opening Zoom. Okay, there we go. Back.
All right, you can see.
I don't know what that was. He just gone. I was like, dang, okay.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay. So when we think about the first album, when we think about Until the Day, even down to that single, because that's a single that I also think was very, very, very dope.
Thank you.
It didn't get the hype. And I don't know if that was possible behind 5 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah, that's a story in itself right there. I mean, people were dropping the ball, unfortunately, at the label. And I think well, hopefully every artist doesn't have their horror stories. But things, and people are human. People make decisions that aren't the best decisions. But what happened with 5 o'clock was, we were living in a time of remixes. Like, records were getting entire new lives with remixes during that time. So when they did the remix to 5 o'clock, there were several remixes, but when they released the remixes, they packaged the remixes in the same packaging as the original. So, right, nuts. Who does that? So when they sent it to the stores, most stores were like, oh, this is 5 o'clock again. And they didn't put remix on it or anything. And so they thought it was just another shipment of the original. So now they're wondering why the remix isn't getting, you know what I mean? Because the people that hear it is giving it love. And they said, oh, well, we thought, so now they sending out, come on, stickers. Can you put these stickers on? I'm trying to tell you, it's nuts. I don't even know. It ain't rocket science. So anyway, so things like that. So, with records, when your original is here, it's starting to come down. The remix is supposed to meet it to give you time to bring in the second single. All of that went out the window. Now, until the day the timeline for the second single is off, the momentum, now the label is going through a change where people are getting fired. Now people are slowing down, people getting put on shelves. I'm still recording, but what am I recording for? By the time the second album is done, whole bunch of other stuff. So shout out to Chucky Thompson, the late Chucky Thompson, who produced, who was the executive producer for, the first record and until the day, the title track. But it was just like, it just got lost in translation. And Frankie, who sung on Until the Day. I mean, fortunately, we had a visual and everything set up for it, the beautiful follow-up. But unfortunately, somebody threw the pass and nobody was there to catch it. So the ball just dropped. Let's just put it in that metaphor right there. That's how we had it.
Got it. I was wondering because I knew it didn't get as much play as it should have. And it's not even one of those things that I'm gassing you up like, yeah, the second song was cool. It was. I want to say that song might have been better than 5 o'clock.
Hey,
I want to say it, but it can't hit like 5 o'clock. But the words inside that song, that song was a deep song.
Yeah, Until the Day, yeah. I think it was a great follow-up to 5 o'clock with everything 5 o'clock was saying. And I mean, the symbolism of the sample that was used in the record. And and then, like you said, the message that was in the record, I think it would have hit just as hard. It would have solidified my career even more than it has been. And who knows what would have happened if Until the Day had gotten the shot that it was supposed to get, which would have set up the rest of the record. But history, it is what it is. We just go on.
It is.
But thank you for the love on the record. I appreciate it.
I rock with it personally, and then, so you just now mentioned something that you were still recording. And a few years ago, on Apple Music and all of those places, a new Nonchalant album dropped, right? And they titled it, I think it was like 2020 when I saw that, or 2022. No, 2021, I believe.
For All Non-Believers.
And, exactly, For All Non-Believers. But is that the music you was recording when that was for the second? Is For All Non-Believers the second album?
This is the second album. So this
is what, 98?
This is 98. The record set for since 98, right? And that's another reason, like, I think, unfortunately the record didn't come out, so that would have given people a glimpse into a whole nother part of me that they didn't. 5 o'clock is 5 o'clock, and I am blessed to have 5 o'clock, but it gives you one glimpse into my thought process. And you want to be known as a well-rounded person, as a full person. And I think For All Non-Believers would have given you a glimpse into a lighter side of me, a more fun side of me, not more fun, but just another part of who the person is. But and that record was very pivotal for me for personal reasons, because during the making of that record, we had actually finished the record. The record was done. And the night the last song was done, I get a phone call saying that my sister Sherry had been in a motorcycle accident and she passed away that night. We had just finished the record, it was completed. We were in Q Studios in Virginia. So I go to Virginia Hospital. We're there. My sister unfortunately passes away. And I immediately go back into the studio the next day in order to make My Angel Sherry. And it was produced by Young Guru, and Lisette TT sung on the record for me. And it was just me being able to talk to my sister, to express, how I was feeling right then, but just an outlet for me to be able to speak to her because she was gone. And Lisette is such an incredible artist. She went in on one take and sang the entire way down. There was no breaks. She just went in, and after I talked, she just sang, and Rue just came in and he had the track for me, and I just went in, and needless to say, it wasn't a dry eye in the studio, but it was an emotional time. So the record, it had that record that's so special to me, but then it had People Time on it. It had a lot of records. This record with KRS-One just sitting, doing nothing. And when I released, when we were making the record, I think in 99, the record was leaked overseas. People Time was leaked overseas. But it never came out. None of the record ever came out. It was owned by Universal at the time, and it was shelved because I was no longer with them. And I'm like, the music is just sitting here. And then the crazy thing, I want to say in 2018 or 19, somebody just sent me the record, emailed the record to me, emailed me the entire album. It was like, right, random, what's up? And you get creative families from labels and different places. People interchange through labels, and you see people and you meet them. They're part of your family every day. You're working on this music, and then they go to another label and you don't see any. So this email comes and say, I had this, I came across it in my emails, and I just wanted you to have it. And I'm like, oh my God. Now I have the ADATs, the little DAT tapes. I have the DAT tapes to For All Non-Believers, but I didn't have it in digital form. They had they had which could not be mastered, but put it into MP3 form and sent
converted it to the MP3.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, I gotta put this out. Why would I want to hold it? So I just put it out. I didn't promote it or anything. The only record that I promoted was People Time, because it was KRS-One and myself, and what the record was saying, because again. So yeah, it's there, a little golden egg in there, to reflect on 1998 of Nonchalant.
For all of our listeners, I'm telling you, and I don't, for our people that's watching, if you saw my face when I first spoke of it, I had to ask, and I wasn't sure if it was new or old. That's how new it sounds. You cannot tell that it's from 98. We got to say, People Time is a dope track. You feel me? Y'all back and forth, even just on the hook alone, you feel me? Back and forth, and y'all talking about something. But let's not forget, man, we got who's on that? Sauce Money. Sauce Money is one of the dopest writers, I think, in history of hip hop. If he wasn't with Jay-Z and he actually came out on his own, I think he would have blew so much bigger. Who else we got on there? We got Sheik Leach on there from the Locks, Rampage. Come on, another thing, she didn't get the Common on the song, you feel me? If Common even knew about it, but she got Black Thought on this one. Yeah, it's definitely a golden egg on there. So I want everybody to definitely go out and get for the non-believers, because the album does not sound dated. It does not sound like 1998 at all. So what chord it is, I'm telling you, Ramp said in one of the songs, he was like 983 or something, 398 or something. He said, hold up. This ain't new.
98. That's a 98 joint.
Listen. That's a good album. I want everybody to go out and get it. So tell me about the Nonchalant that's doing the spinning now. You feel me? I ain't gonna disrespect the culture like you said. But you are out here spinning records now.
Yep.
And you're known for it. You got the video even with what is it called?
Ratrina Nan?
Yes. Oh, I love that song. I love that song.
That's
I love the
ratchetness
right of it too. I love that. That's some gangster ratchet shit right there. I love it. What is this from? Like, I know you've been probably behind the turntables for about 15 years now.
Yeah, so big shout out to one of my very good friends, DJ Tracy Young, from the DMV. We met at PGC back in the days, and Tracy took me to get my 1200s up at Washington Music Center, Chuck Levins. So I used to bug Tracy at PGC when I was at PGC on the radio. I used to bug Tigger, like, Tigger, teach me how to mix and blah, 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 blah. So back in, I would say it was like 90, probably 99. And she was like, okay, no, we're going to go get some 1200s. Let's go. And I went and got them. They stayed out for maybe about 2 weeks. I played around with them for a little while, and then they went in the box. And I didn't bring those back out until maybe 2020, till 19, like 2000, maybe 2008. I might have bought them back out. And because DJing is a craft, it's an art, just like MCing is one of the elements. So a lot of people was waking up once we got Serato and everything, like, oh, I'm a DJ, you know what I mean? But it's an art. So I'm blessed to have had the love and support from a lot of, oh my God, incredible DJs just here in the DMV and be more. But on the level of a DJ Tracy Young, who is DJ'd and produced for Madonna, she just won a Grammy for a Madonna remix. And then, to have DJ Jazzy Joyce, one of the icons, one of the first female to do it on the level of a female and get the respect. DJ Jazzy Joyce is a huge friend of mine, but a huge source of support. Spinderella has given me love, and support. So it's an ongoing learning process, because it's not just getting up there and putting some records together. If you want to stink it up, you can go ahead and do that. But if you really want the respect for the culture, it's an ongoing learning process. So I have the utmost respect for DJs. But right now I'm spinning records, but I'm pretty good. I ain't stinking up no party.
So a party right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does Nonchalant have to play? 3 records that you have to play, no matter what the party is. You know how at some party, look, y'all just gonna get it because I got to do it for me.
Look here.
3 records that you have to play?
Okay, so like I said, you're gonna get Slick Rick. You're gonna get A Children's Story. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get 5 o'clock. Even right. Even when I don't even want to give them 5 o'clock sometimes. I don't want to give them 5 o'clock, but they're gonna get 5 o'clock in there. Even if they get the bass line, they're gonna get a little 5 o'clock. And then oh my God, I got this. This has to be, because I love open format DJing. I love to DJ as an open, so it leaves me room to do whatever I want to do. And I like all age venues. Club DJing, I love club DJing too, but I'm not really, you know what I mean? But I would say, let me see, one more record. Oh man, that's hard. That's really hard for me to just say one more record. Oh God. It'd probably be see, I'm thinking open format. I'm gonna say, man, they're gonna get a Maze record. They getting a Maze record, and it's not gonna be It's not going to be the dun, 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 dun. They're not going to get that. They're going to get a Maze record because Maze going to go with anything. Maze going to give you that feeling. You know what I mean? They're going to give you that feeling.
Definitely.
You know? So, yeah. So, I mean, it's so many I could choose from. And probably when we get off and be like, dang, I could have said, oh, dang, I could have said. But yeah, it's crazy.
These was the ones. I mean, I knew Children's Story was going. That's why I said 3, because I knew you was going to say Children's Story, and I knew you was going to say 5 o'clock, because they're actually probably most DJs they could go to on an open format. So I had to find a third one to make sure it was going to be you, right? To make sure what it was going to be. So I want to touch on one last thing before I go, and it actually was inspired about a conversation that I was just having, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation was superstars or public figures, you know, on the stage platform, feeling as if they're not role models, right? You know, we have the Ja Morant situation with the guns and shit like that, whatever it is that Ja's choosing to do right now with his life. And everybody's like, oh, he ain't got to be a role model. He's not a role model. Now, my answer to that shit is, you feel me, is, well, my conversation I was just having was, but once you're on a platform like that, you're a role model no matter what to me. Because my child ain't waking up at 7 years old saying, damn, I sure hope I'm like daddy going to work for every day of the week and just so he could get 40 hours of vacation time and shit.
Right.
So it's like y'all are like, we looked up to the dope dealers. It's not about because they were supposed to parent us or nothing. The parent can't compete with that. It's just reality. Around 13, 14, once you get a little struggles and understand struggles, and depending on how far you get out there, I feel like, you know, now you get a taste, and now daddy or mommy becomes that person I look up to. But your first people you look up to is people that do shit like you want to do. You want to shoot a basketball. You're not going to look up to my fat ass. You're going to go look up to the nigga that's dunking. I mean, it's just, but that's my opinion. But I wanted to ask you, and because I remember seeing you on TV, and I can't remember the damn show. And like Donahue or something with Luke. Back in the day, Uncle Luke. And I remember watching.
See, Dolores Tucker was on there too. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's back when they was throwing the CDs and doing all the bashing and shit for the parental advisory. Like, oh man, and I'm 38, so that was right during the time that they was trying to stop me from getting all music, right?
Right.
So
that's crazy.
What is your, because at that moment, if I recall right, Luke was on. Well, I mean, we know who Uncle Luke is. Uncle Luke is Don't Stop, Get It, ass shaking titties, all types of 2 Live Crew, Freak Nick, Freak Fest. He's everything everything but a porn star on rap, right? Like it was titties literally that.
More titties than that.
Exactly. Now you at this time was 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't even think we knew you cursed at this time.
Right.
Like you went years without even showing us that you cursed. So it was like,
I'm going to wash my mouth out with soap when I get off of here. Let me stop playing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, you know, real talk. Like you just stood for, you stood for what we seen other queens of hip hop on that level. You know, like I said, the Lauryn Hills, the Queen Latifahs, the MC Lights, and you stood for that. You literally was on that throne versus Uncle Luke. And what's your opinion on? Are stars role models? Like, do you think like the music, do they have a responsibility? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Absolutely not. I don't. Now, I'll say it in this context. I don't think we have the responsibility to put it into our creativity. We don't. Because people make movies about all kinds of stuff. They make movies about they make art, sculptures, paintings about all kinds of crazy stuff. And we don't say, well, you need to go paint some daisies and some flowers to make up for, what you just made. We don't do that to them. So it's not our responsibility to put that into our creativity. What I will say is we need to remember that we are human. We need to remember and to take into consideration the effect that we have on people. It's what we strive to have when we're in the booth. We're trying to make something that will grab the attention of millions and be able to move them in one unison way to do whatever it is we want them to do. So that doesn't instantaneously change when you turn the record player off, or the radio off, or whatever, or the iPod. It doesn't change. So we have to remember that. I don't feel like we have to take the responsibility. But what I feel like we need to be realistic and come to terms with the power that we do have. I feel like there's something that I say that's a trademark of mine. Don't just rap, say something. A lot of people feel like that is me saying, oh, you need to rap like 5 o'clock. Oh, you need to say something, make a song like, no, that's not what I'm saying. You don't never have to make a song. You can make a song about shooting bunnies all day long. That's what you want to do. But at the end of the day, you're human and you have to care about something. You have to care about your neighborhood, your country, the world. You have to care about what's happening. So say something about that whenever you have the opportunity. If you're an artist that have an audience of 1, after you trying to sell them your record, then have a conversation about something that might inspire them or yourself to do better as a human being. So you have the responsibility. I believe every entertainer has the responsibility to remember that you're human. And as a human, you will affect the world just like the next human, but just in a bigger ripple. So I think people just need to take that into consideration. It's not my responsibility to raise your kids, but I do know that I have an effect on your kids like you don't. So as a human, I'm going to think about that. And I'm not going to let your kids see me saying the same thing every day. Because realistically, who want to hear the same thing every day? I don't want to hear this. You got to be human. I don't want to hear the same thing from you every day. I don't. That's why I used to think like Eminem. I used to think about Eminem. And this is a very good example. Eminem, he used to make these records that are very dark and so forth and so on. But as soon as Eminem opened up about how much he loved his daughter and the problems that he was really going on in his life with his personal life, that made him human. He touched people in a positive way, like only he could, because that was his fan base. If he talked about slapping girls or whatever it is, then he would have had that audience. But as soon as he opened up, guys with daughters all over the world felt that. I have a little girl. That's what I'm sure a lot of people was thinking. I have a daughter and I know exactly how he feels about his daughter. So I understand how he's feeling about his relationship, because that's going to affect the relationship with his daughter. That's what I mean about saying something outside of your music. Let us know the rest. Not everything, but just say something. I can go down that rabbit hole, but in a nutshell, no, we don't have the responsibility to raise your kids, but we need to take responsibility for things that happen because of things that we say. Now, that's oxymoron, but figure it out.
Nope. Y'all, hey, for my listeners, y'all know I never can find the right damn button, so I just now found the applause button. I'm fucking proud of myself. Nonchalant, that was a wonderful fucking answer. That answer was dope. It was wonderful because I agree on so many levels, man. I don't feel like you play a part. You play a part no matter how you do. Like you play a part. It's a responsibility. I think it's a cop-out. Artist, I'm not telling you to go create church music if that's not what you want to do. Create. That's what you're doing. But when you put that brush down, you still got to live out in this world as a human and let them. So we gotta make sure that these kids and all these people knowing and watching and looking and they're fantasizing of being y'all. We gotta realize our power. So much is given, much is expected, right? So gotta keep that shit in mind with everything that we doing. Nonchalant, before I let you go, I know I said that was the last one.
It's all good.
No.
Yes.
Because I forgot this question. We was talking about the queens of hip hop and you being a part of all of that, but you worked with some. And I just want to know, what was it like? Because I think you got 2 or 3 songs with Light.
Yep, Light and I think the record, the Keep On Pushing, is the most pivotal record to show me working with different female MCs, because that's myself, Light, Bahamadia, and Yo-Yo. And even though we all created that record separately, you could hear the us being united in a creative vibe, even though we were creating that in several different places, 4 different places. Like all of these women, I have so much admiration and respect for and love for, genuine love for as humans, and still very close. I think Bahama-D is a lyricist on another level. So like B is so dope. She's so incredible. And Yo-Yo and Light and myself, we all, we talk. So I've been blessed to have worked with women in the industry, but outside of the industry, women that inspire me, going back to Ratrina, Kenilworth Katrina, and Ra the MC are 2 female MCs, just 2 that continue to inspire me on a daily basis. They are my sisters, my younger sisters. But for example, Kenilworth Katrina is an MC that will make me rewrite. She made me rewrite my verse for Ratrina. That's literally, that's not
Really?
Yes, no, we went into the studio. We had written all about Ra was, I think Ra might have been in New York when she wrote her verse. So she sent her verse in. Katrina and I went and had a studio session. So I set the session up. So Katrina went in first and said her verse. As soon as she started rapping, I already knew in my head. I was like, I'm going, I got to go back. We were out at Face recording. I said, Face, the session over. I'm not doing my verse. I'm going back. And I literally went back and rewrote my verse and came back in. So yeah, Ratrina and I. So shout out to those 2 incredible female MCs. Just dope MCs, Kenilworth Katrina and Rod the MC, who I am blessed to be a part of their lives, of a sister creatively as well as big sister in life. Yeah.
Dope. Shout out those ladies. We need to bring y'all on too. Nonchalant, I so thank you. It's been an honor, a pleasure, a blessing. Again, y'all know these moments of nostalgia. Like Nonchalant just gave it to us. She's still looking like she's 20 years old.
Oh
she's
man,
still rapping like she's 20 years old. I don't know what's going on. She aging backwards, rapping backwards. Everything is beautiful. Please tell the people how to keep up with you so that they can continue to support you, other than going to get that album, the new album. Y'all know it's the new album, right?
Oh, y'all know.
Get your ass on Apple or wherever it is you listen to music at, and go get that for all non-believers. You did?
Yeah.
Please tell them how to keep up with you and reach out to you.
Absolutely. I'm blessed to have found a new win, a second win in figuring out how I can help my creative community in the DMV. So I have a thing called Record Pool Mixes, RPM. You can go to recordpoolmixes.com and see what it's all about. It's a throwback to the Mix Show Summit that had DJs come in from all over and play music, get music from new artists. So RPM happens July the 8th. And it's all DJs and spinning all DMV music. The only criteria is that you have to send it. That's it. They send it and we spin it. So Record Pool Mixes is my vehicle of being able to give back and help new artists coming up in my way. And my record was broken at a record pool. It's a throwback to the record pool. My record was broken at a record pool here in DC. Before my record was played, they played California Love was played. Yeah. A room full of DJs. So they threw California Love on. This is a new record. And now y'all about to hear this female MC from the DMV with a song called 5'OCLOCK. Boy, I was scared. But when that bass dropped, they was like, oh, hell yeah, this is it. So I want that same feeling for DMV artists, to hear your record spun by a room full of creatives, by a room full of dope DJs. On this one, July 8th, we have DJ Gemini, DJ Reds, DJ Rico, Dirty Rico, King C, RBI, and Marada. And then so many other creatives that just come out. So July 8th, Union Stage, recordpoolmixes.com. Go check it out. And hit me up on Instagram at The Real Nonchalant. It's only one, the real one, Nonchalant IG.
So dope. Hey, artists, y'all better get to her, because I know a lot of y'all artists is young. Y'all don't remember how important, she just showed you how important the record pools used to be. I remember in the DMV area, Sean Caesar and them used to run it. And they used to have the whole record pool. This back when I was doing music. Y'all ain't played my shit back then, but it's okay. So to get in the record pool, it is a big deal, y'all. Make sure y'all reach out to Nonchalant, follow her on the social media. Make sure y'all get your ass over there to the event that's July 8th.
Union
July
Stage.
8th. Make sure y'all get there, Union Stage. Show support. Nonchalant, we love you over here. We thank you so much for coming. It's been an honor, a pleasure. Y'all, subscribe, like, follow, all of that good stuff on every platform. We are Baltimore's #1 podcast. 2 years in a row. We're going to win the third year. And if we don't, guess what? We still won it because we win it in our heart. Peace.
Hey.